It's an honor to chair this hearing of the House Agriculture Committee's Subcommittee on Livestock, Dairy, and Poultry in the 119th Congress. As the fifth-generation Kansan, having grown up on my family farm, I rode pens and doctored thousands of sick cattle at our preconditioning feed yard. I understand the grit, tenacity, and courage that it takes to make a living in agriculture and the burden of responsibility for feeding the world that comes along with it. As we get started this morning, I want to recognize Scott Foote with Foote Cattle Company, who is in the audience with us, along with his daughter, Molly Foote. His family feeds cattle throughout the state of Kansas. He's my guest at tonight's State of the Union, and I appreciate him joining us this morning. Chairing this subcommittee for the second Congress in a row is a unique honor for me as I represent the Big First, where producers sell $10 billion worth of livestock, dairy, poultry, and products like beef, milk, and eggs every year. That does not happen in a vacuum. It takes the entire animal agriculture chain to make that happen, and we see it all in the Big First District of Kansas. From the producer to the feedlot and from the harvest facility to the distributor, every role is important in delivering protein to the market and to the consumer. During the 118th Congress, members of this committee traveled the country to visit with farmers, ranchers, and agriculture producers about the need for a 5-year farm bill that is long enough to provide certainty and short enough to respond to market changes. Chairman Thompson and I hosted more than 150 Kansans at a listening session in the middle of a wheat field near Gypsum, Kansas, and I suspect that many of the issues raised there will also be raised again today. I was pleased to see those issues directly addressed in the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2024, which passed on a bipartisan basis out of this committee last year. That legislation would have maintained American food independence, invested tax dollars where we would see a return on those dollars, protected crop insurance, promoted trade programs that helped Americans remain competitive and secure, conducted rigorous oversight of the executive branch, promoted animal health, invested in agricultural research at America's land-grant universities, and much more. As the chairman of this subcommittee on livestock, dairy, and poultry, I was proud of that legislation, and as a Kansan, I was proud too. I'm eager to hear from you all today about what's working, what should be considered, where additional investment may be required, and where the federal government needs to just get out of your way. As time has taught us, even if well-intended, more legislation and regulation is almost never the answer. The past 4 years under the Biden administration were a perfect example of what can happen when the government gets in the way. Whether it was proposed seminally a framework that would have increased costs for producers and consumers with no real impact on public health, its botched response to the highly pathogenic avian influenza, or water regulations which would have put several processing facilities out of business, we must learn from these mistakes and not hamstring America's farmers, ranchers, and our ag producers. As we work to craft the next farm bill, we look forward to today's conversation to continue our working together in the 119th Congress.